Bu arada Enerji ve Tabii Kaynaklar Bakan Yardımcısı Sayın
Meanwhile, Distinguished Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources of the Republic of Turkey, Dr. Zafer Demircan, and Mayor of Gaziantep Metropolitan Municipality, Fatma Şahin, have arrived.
müziği alabiliriz arkadaşlar. Teşekkür ediyoruz.
Efendim hoş geldiniz. Sayın Bakan Yardımcısı, Sayın
Distinguished Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, distinguished CEO of Wind Europe, President of TWEA, distinguished participants, welcome to TWEC 2024. Energy of the future is the future of Turkey is the theme of this year's Congress. And soon we'll start the Congress with the participation of the Energy Commission President of Turkish Parliament, Mustafa Varank, and I suppose it's a bit of a rush hour issue of Istanbul. Do we have the mayor of Gaziantep with us? Yeah, okay. Congress will take 2 days and we'll have numerous valuable sessions, which I believe to be fruitful for all of us. But before starting the Congress, I invite all our guests to a moment of silence to commemorate the founding father of our republic and his comrade Gazi Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, followed by the national anthem.
efendim şimdi
Well, now, for 33 years, the cleanest, most reliable, and sustainable energy resource has been wind, and Turkey wants to benefit from this resource and exerted great efforts. And we have prepared for the 13th anniversary of this Congress, so it's just going to take 2 minutes of your time. Let's take a look at the video. What is energy? The Turkish Language Foundation states it as the power that is generated as light and motion. But energy means energy has a different meaning for everyone else. It's different for countries, for nature, for human beings. Energy has different meanings, but combining it with happiness, the energy stakeholder is the wind. It meets needs of nations, protects the nature, benefits human beings. Never harms the nature. It is renewable and it is limitless. So for humans and for nature, that's the most reliable source of energy. So that is why most authorities defined wind as the most precious energy source of the globe. And in order to utilize it efficiently, we founded the Association of Turkey Wind Energy in '92 so that we could follow all scientific, technical, and applied researches so that we could disseminate the use of wind energy and to utilize the potential and reflect it in the Turkish economy. Wind value chain is fully covered by TWEC, and it is the umbrella foundation of Turkey. We've had a success story of 33 years, and we always pursued the cleanest, most reliable, and the sustainable energy source, and we tried to make it #1 resource in Turkey. We had workshops, publications, expos, and EU meetings. We had stakeholder events so that we could always keep wind in the national agenda, and we created awareness. The Turkish Wind Energy Congress is proudly celebrating its 13th year, and we always strive to do more for the cleanest and the most reliable energy source. In 2023, we had 131 speakers from 26 countries, and we had 4,358 participants. We had 24 sessions, 162 B2B meetings. This was the 12th Congress, and now it is time for the 13th. And we have no doubt that it is going to be yet another record Congress. We are sure that we will create even more awareness. Public institutions and TWEC brings together stakeholders, and the synergy created by this getting together totaled into 13 gigawatts, and the number of wind plants has risen to 278. We have 4,360 installed turbines, which reflects a significant development. In 2023, the share of electricity generation from wind reached to 10.9%, and there are some ongoing constructions. There's some plant constructions that are ongoing, and we just started to build yet another 75 plants. The wind industry has had a significant growth since last year. In 2019, we had 24 industrialists, and they had a national production of 700 million euros. But in 2023, it reached to 2.2 billion euros. Our industry exports to 50 countries now. And looking at employment, well, we have employed more than 50,000 people. When it comes to building wings and towers, we can have a national production, domestic production up to 65%. Licenses, financing, capacity utilization are now covered by the Ministry of Energy, and they are included in our 2035 vision. Ministry of Energy has 2035 targets of 120 gigawatts of renewable energy. And in order to hit that goal, we need 5 gigawatts of investment annually. And this will also bring about incredible opportunities for the industry. We believe that it is a great target and it can be achievable. But achieving this target will also eliminate 8 million tons of CO2. It will allow us to offer $6 billion of foreign investment, and we will reduce the current account by $1 billion each year. Wind energy will become the energy of the future in the coming decade, and the future of the energy will become the future of Turkey. So energy of the future, let's make it the future of Turkey. This is how we kickstarted the Congress. And while following the video, I just moved to the side of this podium so that you could have a clearer look. Let me share some housekeeping details. We'll have various sessions. We will focus on what might shape the future. And by the way, the Energy Commission President of the Turkish Parliament, Mustafa Varank, has arrived in the hall. Welcome, sir. And when it's the second day, meaning tomorrow, we'll focus on Turkish industry, we'll focus on onshore and offshore wind capabilities, new opportunities, regulations, electricity and carbon trade, and how it might increase value, strategies, policy frameworks, World Energy Congress special sessions, and global opportunities, and many more other topics will be discussed in the coming 2 days. We have some great sessions, by the way. And also, if you need a Wi-Fi connection, meaning if you want to keep your data to yourself, and it's a bit costly, so you might think like that. We have a TWEC 2024 Wi-Fi source. What's written in front of me says 2023, but why? 2023, that's what I have in my notes. Okay, maybe that's from the last year. Last year, and by the way, the password was a challenge, but now it's easier. It's İzmir Vinç. IZMIRVINC. That's your password. No. TWEC 2024? No, okay, not 2023. Okay, that's my mistake. All right, then. Network name is the TWEC 2024, and then password is İzmir Vinç. Then you'll be connected to Wi-Fi. You can follow the Congress in hall as well. You can also download an application to follow the event. The name of the application is Event Magics. Do you know how to write it down? Event Magics. The end is an X. And the access code is again TWEC 2024. Small letters. TUREK 2024. That's your access code. So this way, you can follow all the panels, the Congress program, and everything through the application. So these were my housekeeping messages and rules. And now, it's time to start the Congress. And we'll have opening ceremony. And I kindly invite Dr. İbrahim Erden, the president of TWEC, for his opening remarks. Welcome, dear guests. Distinguished Energy Commission President of the Turkish Parliament, distinguished Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources of the Republic of Turkey, distinguished Mayor of Gaziantep Metropolitan Municipality, distinguished representatives of both public and private sector, energy industry shareholders, dear guests. The I'd like to welcome all of you to TWEC 2024 on behalf of my Wind Energy Association, and I salute you all with my most heartfelt emotions. Also, this week has its own significance. Happy Energy Industry Employees Week, and once again, welcome to our Congress. Renewable energy targets of our country has a significant importance for our development, and wind energy is heavily discussed at this Congress, and we are holding the 14th of our Congress. This Congress will take 2 days, and I thank each and every one of you for your participation. Distinguished Minister, distinguished Chair, distinguished participants. We're going through an incredible global transformation. It's happening both on a global and local level. We're seeing local conflicts, economic competition, and the rising destructive transformation affects our industries, and especially wind energy, wind industry. So the energy of the future is wind, and I'd like to grab your attention on on four subjects. Let's focus on what's going on in global markets. There is an incredible Far East and West competition going on. Looking at the last decade, like 10 years ago, world's largest 10 turbine supplier had majorly Western producers, but now the picture have changed after a decade. Now, significant players are mostly coming from the Far East, and they are in a great competition with the Western producers. And we're looking at a very different picture now. 10 years ago, global wind energy market, especially the turbine markets, was covered by Western producers up by 55%, but Western producers now only make 36% of the turbine market. This was a transformation. It did not happen only between turbine producers. Even the sizes of wind turbines went through a significant change. Only 5 years ago, around 2019, 2020, onshore turbines had just 4 or 5 megawatts of turbines, but now we're talking about 78 megawatts of turbines. It's like it has doubled in size. But it's not limited to that. Right now, there are prototypes for 10 to 15 megawatts of wind turbines, and in the coming 5 to 6 years, approximately in a decade, you will see that those prototypes will be dominating the markets. And when we think of offshore, approximately 8 years ago, wind turbines were hovering around 8 to 10 megawatts, but now they are around 14 to 16 megawatts. Maybe before 2030, we will start seeing 15 to 20 megawatts of offshore wind turbines. Turbine producers and the transformation is not limited to this. Not just the installed capacity went through a change. Digitalization is quite apparent in this industry as well. 5 to 10 years ago, turbines were heavily mechanical, but in the coming days, in the near future, you will see autonomous features, and you will see wind turbines that act like data centers. So this transformation will change installed capacities and all the features of the turbines. And yet still the transformation continues. Production changes, supply chains changes, everything is going through an incredible change. Around 10 years ago, global production facilities and chains were the only way to produce wind turbines, but now production can happen on a local, on a national level, and the competition is incredibly fierce right now. Producers demand national equipment, but there is still a dependency to Far East capabilities. So from turbines to production capabilities, there's a significant change going on. So with all the latest developments, this year's theme is Energy of the Future, Future of Turkey. We will emphasize how much of a transformation going on, and we will also discuss the visions for future. Wind is in the focus of global arenas, and we are more than ready to represent our country in the best way possible. In the last 3 years, of course, we've been a member of Wind Europe, and we participated to all events of Wind Europe in the last 3 years. We participated with a strong delegation and company representation. So public institutions and their respective representatives, as well as the representatives of private sector, supported us. We were in Spain, in Germany, in Denmark, and in 2026 it is planned to hold the Wind Europe TWEC, and we became a candidate country so that we can host the technology workshop. I hope next year in June we will bring the giants of wind technology to Istanbul, and hopefully we'll be hosting this incredible event. Of course, we want to make our country a focal point of the wind industry on a global level, and hopefully in 2028 we will have the Wind Europe annual event in Istanbul. Last month we announced our candidacy for the 2028 event as well. So with the support from both public and private sector, we can host Wind Europe 2028 in Istanbul. Distinguished Chair, distinguished Minister, dear participants, looking at the wind energy of Turkey, you will see 13 gigawatts of installed capacity. You will see 278 plants, an investment size of $18 billion. We are an advanced and developed wind country. Our industry has developed significantly as well. So this development offered us employment for more than 50,000 people, meaning more than 50,000 of our citizens are working in this industry. But unfortunately, last year we had a very low installation, 500 to 538 megawatts. This 538 megawatts of installation never disappoints us because there are huge opportunities, big project opportunities ahead of us. We have a project stock of 26,000 megawatts. We have storage projects and capacity development projects. With the support of the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources and with the strategy plan towards 2035, we just heard that there is a target of 120,000 megawatts of extra installed capacity. So as the industry, we are more than ready to have an investment that will total to 5,000 megawatts of additional capacity. But how can the country benefit from all these goals and projects? God willing, with all the new investments, we will reach 50,000 megawatts of installed capacity, and the generation will increase to 137,000 terawatts annually. Together with this renewable energy investment, in the coming years, electricity prices can face a potential drop of 15%. We hope that we will see more wind, more renewable energy resources, and until 2035, we plan to cut and save $14 billion worth of energy input. In addition to all these goals, We will also have economic benefits as well. For example, reducing coal imports, reducing CO2 emissions, and so on. But one of the most important benefits that we want to emphasize over and over again is that 50,000 megawatts of installed capacity will turn our country into a brand new industry and supply chain hub. There is a great potential, and we must definitely cap it. Distinguished chairs, distinguished minister, distinguished participants, we have ambitious 2035 goals. And in order to hit our goals and realize our investments, our industry has some needs. Let me underline a couple of those needs for you. Here are the needs, the most important ones, I mean. First, investments should be completed swiftly. That requires an acceleration in the permit processes. Also, beyond the existing capacity, the investors and the industries need a clear, projectable, foreseeable future. So the capacity support should continue with a regular capacity supply. Also, such capacity that is allocated should be connected to the grid, and that requires distribution and transition sources to be diversified. And surely we are always striving for more investments, but that requires new financing models. And surely, in order to realize all these investments, first and foremost, we have to focus on our domestic industry. And in order to utilize our domestic capabilities, we have to strengthen and support our industry. With all these needs, this is how the current picture is. And with the leadership of the distinguished minister, and together with the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, plus the Energy Markets Regulatory Board, we have no doubt that these are always kept in the agenda. But the very first and crucial need is the super permit regulation, and this will significantly contribute to the easing of permit processes. Also, on the 21st of October, distinguished minister announced the 2035 renewable energy strategy and the new YECA, the renewable energy resource area model, actually covers some of the challenges. So until 2035, we would need tenders for 2,000 megawatts of further capacity annually, and overcoming these challenges would definitely contribute to our industries. There will be further grid investments, and we want the share of the renewable energy in our grid to increase further and further. Also, like I said, we need new financing models, and maybe there can be an FX-based 20-year maturity long-term procurement model can be an opportunity to, again, the ease of investment. And finally, when it comes to the industry, YECA always emphasizes the use of domestic capabilities, and I'm sure that they will work around the clock to support the industry, and all the efforts exerted so far has been welcomed by the industry. The necessary legal regulations will soon be completed in the coming months, and there will be amendments, and we are looking forward to these amendments in the legislation. And we hope that both in our country and around the globe, renewable energy, and especially wind energy, 2024 will mark will be marked in history as the year of the transformation and change. Distinguished chairs, distinguished minister and dear participants, TWEC 2024 is not just a congress, but it's also a great platform that offers the sector to talk about the future roadmaps, addressing critical sector issues, stakeholders and representatives getting together and having discussions. This is quite precious, and the support of related commissions, ministries, and public institutions always welcome an open and transparent communication, and I'd like to express my gratitude for their support. So once again, welcome to our 14th Congress, and I hope that we will hear great ideas in the coming 2 days. As I end my opening remarks, getting support from our motto, we'll continue to share global developments, we'll continue to believe in the energy of the future, and we'll strive to work for the energy source of the future. In order to have a strong future as the Union of Wind Energy and as the industry, we are committed to have an annual installation of 5 gigawatts. God willing, we will see that we fulfill our promise and see the installation of 5 gigawatts annually. Distinguished presidents, distinguished ministers, and dear participants, thank you so much once again for your support, and thank you for sparing your time and being with us today. I wish you a fruitful Congress. Thank you.
Evet efendim. Teşekkür.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim Erden. Actually, on our account, electricity will be 15% cheaper. There's a probability for this, and maybe we can do some saving from 14 billion US dollars energy import, and we are talking about 230 million tons of carbon emission, as we are talking about global warming, and we will not be importing coal anymore, which is amounting up to 50 million tons. And one more important topic is that the Far East market is now more important than the European market, which we observe and witness in many other sectors as well. So now we will be listening to the CEO of Wind Europe, Mr. Giles Dixon, who will be probably elaborating on what's going on in European market.
Thank you.
Deputy Minister Zafar Bey, Chairman of the Parliamentary Committee Mustafa Bey, Saygıdeğer the Mayor of Gaziantep, Ibrahim Bey, Beyler, Bayanlar, Günaydın. Congratulations on the excellent new renewable energy strategy for 2035 that the government of Turkey has just published. It is excellent. Well done. 120 gigawatts renewable energy capacity by 2035, of which we understand 40% will be wind. That is truly impressive. It is very good also that in the government you have committed to a visible pipeline through the TWEC. Excellent. Visibility is absolutely key for those people who want to invest in wind energy in Turkey or any other country. Many governments are now beginning to understand this, and it's clear from your new strategy that you understand it as well. If you want to attract even more investment than other countries, we would recommend that you go one step further and clarify exactly how many gigawatts of new wind you propose to auction through the TWEC each year. 2026, X gigawatts, 2027, Y gigawatts, and so on. That sort of visibility is priceless. And you, the Republic of Turkey, will be the main beneficiaries of it. It's great that you now have 13 gigawatts of wind energy in this country, producing 11% now of all of the electricity that you consume. In Wind Europe, we think, and this is a very hard-nosed Wind Europe assessment, we think you're going to double by 2030. You'll get from 13 gigawatts to 26 gigawatts. And Zafer Bey, you were saying to me just a moment ago, at least double. Great. We like that ambition. Thank you also for everything that the wind energy supply chain of Turkey does. You now have, I understand, 150 main facilities producing equipment with another 350 subcontractors. That's the latest TÜREB data. That is fantastic. It is fantastic for you in Turkey because it enables you to build your wind farms with equipment that is made in Turkey. It is fantastic for the rest of Europe as well, because the majority of what you are producing here is, of course, exported to Europe. And Europe is very hungry for your wind energy equipment, the turbines and all the other equipment that you produce here in Turkey. Europe at the moment is building between 18 and 20 gigawatts a year of new wind farms. That number is rising significantly. And of course, we have lots of factories inside the European Union, but we need the Turkish supply chain as well. And if you have any doubt as to whether you should be supporting the further expansion of the Turkish wind energy supply chain, remember this: the rest of Europe is very hungry indeed for the equipment that you are producing in this country. We need you, we want you, and in the rest of Europe, you have a big and rapidly growing market for the equipment that you want to produce here. So it is in your interests to continue to strengthen Turkey's wind energy supply chain. The more you do, the more you will be exporting to the rest of Europe. Europe, at least the European Union, is at that point in time which comes once every 5 years when it changes the guard politically. Out with the old European Parliament, in with the new, out with the old European Commission, in with the new. And that change is happening now as we speak. We had European Parliament elections in June. We have a new European Parliament. And we hope on the 1st of December we will have a new European Commission. Some people outside the EU say to us, does Europe really believe, rather, does the EU really believe in the energy transition still? You used to talk about the Green Deal. Do you still believe in that? Or are you going slow on that? We see now you've got a lot of new members of the European Parliament who are from right-wing parties who don't believe in all of that stuff. Let me tell you this. The EU is even more committed to the energy transition. There is a very strong majority of members of the European Parliament who want to accelerate the build-out of renewables and grids, and the new European Commission, under the leadership still of Ursula von der Leyen, is doubling down on its commitment to the energy transition. They want even faster build-out of wind. They're now combining it with something else, which is a stronger industrial policy. And what we used to call the Green Deal is now evolving into the Clean Industrial Deal. Clean Industrial Deal. That is the flagship domestic economic policy of the new European Union for the next 5 years. And it consists of two things. First, strengthening the energy-intensive industries in the European Union, steel, chemicals, cement, aluminium, and so on, helping them to decarbonize and electrify. And that's very good for us in the wind industry, because those industries are central to our supply chain. Look at all the steel and chemicals we have in wind turbines. And they're also central to the demand for the electricity that we want to produce. By electrifying those industries, they're mostly running on fossil fuels today, we will increase electricity demand, and that is good for wind. The second part of the Clean Industrial Deal is to strengthen Europe's clean energy industries, wind, batteries, electrolyzers, and so on. And what the EU wants here is to strengthen its strategic autonomy and its national security. And it sees a very clear link between Europe's political security and how far Europe is producing the equipment for the energy transition itself. The two go together. And that is the meaning of the Clean Industrial Deal. Europe, as you know, is getting out of Russian gas. Imports have fallen by over half since the war started in 2022. Now, the new European Commission is determined to go one step further and stop the Russian LNG imports into Europe as well. No more Russian gas imports into Europe. That is the clear policy. And at the same time, the EU does not want to replace the previous misguided, ill-judged dependence on Russian gas with increased dependence on renewable energy equipment coming from outside of Europe. The EU is very conscious also of the cybersecurity and data security angle here. There are nearly 300 sensors on a modern wind turbine. Whoever puts the sensors on those turbines has lots and lots of data and the power to control the functioning of those turbines, the wind farms and everything else in the electricity system to which they are connected. The European Union is very clear that the power to access that data and have those controls is something that should be very closely guarded. And the EU's cybersecurity legislation does not allow the export of data to China. The European Union, at the same time, is insisting on having a level playing field between European wind turbine manufacturers and non-European wind turbine manufacturers. And let me say, when the European Union says European and non-European, you, our friends here in Turkey, are seen as part of the European supply chain. But there must be a level playing field. It is not acceptable that non-European wind turbine manufacturers come to Europe and offer unfairly subsidized prices and unfairly subsidized financing terms. If you're offering 2 years deferred payment, for example, European manufacturers or manufacturers that are headquartered in any OECD country are not able to offer those terms and are not allowed to offer those terms under OECD rules. There must be a level playing field. A brief word about offshore wind. It's very good that your ambition now in the new renewable energy strategy for 2035 includes an ambition for offshore wind. Very well done. Could we make just one suggestion, please? Every country in Europe that has done offshore wind so far, the government has got heavily involved at the beginning. They've done the pre-development work. They've done the seabed surveys, the initial site development. And then the private investors come in once the government has done that. We would strongly advise you to follow that model here in Turkey. If you don't, the investors in offshore wind will be reluctant to come in. Ibrahim Bey, it's very good that you talked about all the great work that TWEC are doing. You are part of the Wind Europe family. We cherish our relationship with you as we cherish our relationship with the whole of the Turkish wind energy industry. You are one of us, and we work very closely together. Thank you very much for all of that. Can I just make one specific observation, however? Ibrahim Bey, you said, hopefully, the Wind Europe Technology Workshop is coming to Istanbul next year. No, it is coming to Istanbul next year on the 19th and 20th of June. And we look forward to it, and I look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. Beyler, bayanlar, ilginiz için teşekkürler.
Thank you. Çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was a very motivating speech. I believe everyone has elevated their spirits about investment on wind energy. Europe is hungry for that. They don't demand more of the Russian gas. They're looking out for clean energy, and we will be holding the next meeting in Istanbul. It was a very delightful speech. Thank you so much. We would like to thank him once again for this speech. European Union and its attitude towards us was very significant. Also, Let's come back to the local governments, especially their combat against the climate change, their approximation and their attitude towards combat against climate change is really significant, and we show this great sensibility about this, and we would like to invite Mayor of Gaziantep Metropolitan Municipality, Fatma Şahin, in order to deliver their speech. The wings are soaring in the sky, giving me power. I would like to salute distinguished presidents, distinguished ministers, and we would like to salute President of TWEC, President of Wind Europe. We would like to salute and greet everyone who is representing here energy institutions, energy sector. I would like to salute you all on behalf of my city. We are in the capital city of the renewable energy, and I am representing here Gaziantep, OEBRD. I would like to salute you all, greetings to you all, and we would like to thank you for inviting us to this valuable meeting and congress. We are the witness of this valuable, precious time. We couldn't convert to social justice, but we can see that people are dying of hunger. People are looking out for clean water in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Syria. Children are dying, children are massacred. This is the world that we are witnessing. In the world that children are massacred, we are not innocent at all. There is a chaos where there is bloodshed. Behind this, we see the policies of energy of the countries. The civilization history shows us the same history repeating. As Edison puts it, none of the inventions is a coincidence. Behind every invention, there is hard work. There is hard work, and it's a production of hard work. This is what we are striving to do. In this hall, we are striving to do. That's why we are gathering here. Especially, we see that climate change, and we are facing a lot of difficulties. I would like to thank to our minister. I had the chance to visit Antarctica. I have seen it all, how the ice cycles are melting. And today, in today's world, we see that they're not really taking any steps, any concrete action from the United Nations. We cannot expect anything from them. What do we have to do? When we ask ourselves, I have this anecdote. I'm a person who has worked for 15 years as an engineer in the private sectors. When I was first assigned as a minister, I was in the Undersecretary of the Industrial Affairs. We had our energy minister. Unfortunately, we couldn't pronounce all these ideas. We were a country of this justice, but we couldn't harness our energy. We couldn't harness our energy and nothing. But that was a very important regulations. Yet we achieved to make all these regulations. The most important thing that our president put these four models. First, we have to learn. We have to read. If I have to compete with other metropolitan cities in the world, I have to be a smart city. I have to be an intelligent city. First read, then think, use your intelligence, and then implement and find the solutions. At the time of implementing and finding solutions, harnessing the academical information, you have to implement it. You have to harness the energy. When we became this metropolitan city, the instructions of my professor was evaluation. If you cannot evaluate, if you cannot make the assess, you cannot govern. If you cannot govern, you cannot you cannot advance. Let me just tell you how we became the champion city of OECD. How did we succeed? Just let me make the brief summary of our history of becoming a OECD champion green city. It is a study model of from macro to micro, from micro to micro. Gaziantep model is a good example of this model. I would like to thank especially to our Energy Commission President Mustafa Varank. We have survived earthquake of 6th of February. The resilience of the city was very important, and we held another energy congress this weekend. They are not here today because they are together with our president. Yet, we will be listening to our Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources. And they will be elaborating what is expected of the government. But development starts from the local. Let me just tell you our history. Let's take a look at these figures. How can we transform the cities to a green city? You have to be green, you have to be inclusive. We have been living together with 500,000 refugees for the last 12 years. We are surviving this chaos. For that reason, OECD has tagged us as the champion cities of coexistence. They have seen our thriving in the class of this coexistence. You see the local diplomacy, local development, alternative financing models together hand in hand. We started out a project in assessment. As you can see, we have established our action plan in 2015. Action plan is important, yet the most important part is implementing this action plan. We have this organization where 300,000 people are working. If they cannot get this green certificate, they cannot export. How can we do that? How can we do this without killing the biodiversity in the water? We have to have these industries, but locally, without polluting the air. The transportation was the key role in this transportation. We switched to electrical autobuses. We also installed the infrastructures of the hydrogen buses. I will be also telling the story of this. Climate change, when you take a look at the Gaziantep Action Plan, and we have made an agreement in 2018 at 80%. We agreed upon the reduction of carbon dioxide emissions. We established the confidence and we implemented this project. How did we become the green city of EBRD? We visited London. We presented our plans, projects, especially fuels was really important. Coals were polluting the air. We communicated to our environment ministry. Now we initiated together with the ministry a line of rail line. We made a high-speed train. We could have purchased it from Japan or China, but we have a domestic rail line, domestic purchased rail line, domestic produced rail line. We didn't purchase it. But we can say that on a daily basis, we will be facilitating a domestic purchased rail line, tram line that will be carrying 60,000 people on a daily basis. That was our project. So you became a green city. What happened? We have 27 megawatts and it was a subsidy. We don't owe to government, we don't owe to municipality, but they say that they will not be granting you, but they have granted us, and we implemented 11 megawatts. We have installed capacity, you see our plans, and we have become the green city of EBRD. This is our carbon emission ratios. This is all complete. It is not the future, it is the present. This is the area of this earthquake. From the development agency, we received funds as the irrigation waters. If the irrigation water doesn't meet the terrain, you cannot talk about the government of a green city. In order to establish the electricity supplies, we facilitated 5 gigawatts of electricity. We worked on this together with our stakeholders. We had this fund from Kuwait Fund. I believe this is the most precious, obstacle-less center of Turkey. We have a roof that works with solar energy, and we're also harnessing biogases. They were saying you cannot succeed, yet we are succeeding. We have these consultancy services with Germany. We succeeded. We are using these energies. We are harnessing these energies, especially in Nurdağ. We are using this energy of solid waste. We increase it to 7 megawatts. We have the solar capacity of 100. The wind is really strong, and we completed our feasibility of 30 gigawatts. When our Ministry of Energy visited at the weekend, we made this study. What is the green energy? Green energy, together with the German company, the whole buses switched to hydrogen. My husband is a mechanical engineer. Together we paid a visit to Köln municipality, and we have observed that 200 buses switched to hydrogen buses. And we talked to Karsan, and they told us this is a great market. We are producing these hydrogen buses. In the port of Iskenderun, they are investing in hydrogen energy. Iskenderun is just 1 hour away from Gaziantep. If we carry this stored energy to Gaziantep, we can facilitate the transportation of 20 buses on a hydrogen base. We are switching from electrical energy to hydrogen energy. It is facilitated in Gaziantep, not in Istanbul, because we demanded. We collaborated with Karsan, as you have seen. All these applications, all these implementations of climate change is implemented in our city. In order to reduce immigration from the rural areas to urban areas, we made these studies. We designed ecological architecture. We also used these collaborations of women communities with the solid waste. Regarding the solid waste in the garbage, Germany has separated organic from inorganic and the solid waste from the kitchens. But we first mix it and then we try to separate it. This is not sustainable. For that reason, we have to put this into agenda of the families in the kitchen, of the families. For that reason, we made another study. As you have seen, first of all, we achieved 3 megawatts from garbage to energy, and we made this greenhouse for the strawberries. We hosted our minister. We produce 5 tons of strawberries annually, and our production is sent to people. It's a social responsibility project. This has been funded by European Union. It's a fund, it's a grant by European Union. We also invested on the quality of the air. We are an environmental friendly municipality. You can see it is, of course, really important to be honored, to be awarded These international prizes also show us the importance and appreciation of our work. Of course, we said that municipalities are taking a little bit longer, so we can also establish another company. We established a lot of private companies regarding the energy efficiency. Together with Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, we completed the energy efficiency. We completed a lot of projects. I'm not going to delve deeper into those projects. I will be listening to our minister, deputy minister, for the details. I will be talking about how we accelerated and how we turned this into the energy model. This is the Gaziantep model. This can also transform into a Turkey model. This can be a world model. We are more than prepared. We are more than determined. The whole renewable energy plans maybe prevents the death of a child. For that reason, let the human live so that the government can live. This is our understanding. This is our mentality. I would like to thank distinguished minister, distinguished president for giving me the word. Thank you so much.
Efendim Gaziantep Büyükşehir Belediye
Well, we would like to thank Mayor of Gaziantep Metropolitan Municipality, Ms. Fatma Şahin. Thank you so much once again. Of course, we'd like to hear what the governors of these processes are going to say. We're very curious. Well, very recently, Minister of Energy has already mentioned, and Ibrahim Elden also mentioned the super permit issue in the beginning of his speech. He mentioned that the investments should be supported, and Mr. Dixon said that European countries are ready for this. These investments are very important, and we have to start energy importation. In order for these things to be realized, the support of the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources are very important. So they are going to enable reforms and mechanisms which are accelerating these procedures. So I'd like to invite the Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources of the Republic of Turkey, Mr. Zafer Demircan. Well, the Energy Commission President of Turkish Parliament and esteemed audience, I'd like to salute you all wholeheartedly and respectfully. I have brought the salutations of the minister to the audience, and he wishes that this Congress is going to be very successful. I wanted to transfer his message. Well, esteemed guests, today we are gathered together for 13th Turkish Wind Energy Congress. It's going to have an incredible mission. Especially this Congress is going to have an important mission because we are at a really important breakthrough. This breakthrough is not something crucial for Turkey, but also for the other countries in the world, because we are going to come together in Baku to talk about climate change issues, and all the countries in the world are preparing for this. Energy is one of the most important variants for climate change, and it is the most affected component of the climate change. We are all aware of this situation, the issues with respect to energy and future. We know that these are intertwined with one another, and climate change is an important problem in the world. According to the studies, for the world to solve these problems, by 2035, $150 trillion of investment should be made. And it requires $5 trillion of investment, globally speaking. Of course, it is $1.3 trillion of investment that we conducted in a couple of years. If we take this into consideration, we know that we are really distant, very far away from the targets of the globe. So we have created new strategies starting from 2020. Our ministry has prepared national energy efficiency plans and programs, and strategy documents have been updated. As you all know, the main function of energy ministry is to provide the security of this energy supply. It is one of the main functions of the ministry. Yes, that is correct, but in the recent years, new functions have been gained. Energy independence, especially after 2018, with national energy and national mining policies, our ministry has urged to increase the sources in Turkey, locally and nationally, and it has applied strategies in this respect. And I'm sure that you have followed it very closely. Main part of our budget deficit is from energy components. Approximately 45 billions of dollars of energy importation is realized annually. So we try to provide energy independence and the security of energy supply and demand, and we have to provide the maximum use of local and national resources. So after this, we have added new component to the system. By 2053, we are going to reach net zero targets, as you all know, based on Paris Climate Change Agreement. After our parliament has approved it, esteemed President has announced 2053 net zero targets. Of course, when we have a look at the emission part, the share of the energy in the total emission is around 60%. And energy share in electricity generation is around 40%. So based on this, we can say that emission reduction is going to take place in energy generation. While we do this, in the long run, we're going to enable energy transformation without any problems. So in this concept, we have taken our first position with the renewable energy sources utilization. And prior to this, we realized energy production reform. And with this, we've increased the success on the entrepreneurship part of the sector. And in addition to this, energy efficiency has become an issue. I'll skip this very briefly because I'll talk about the important issue of today. When it comes to energy efficiency and hydrogen energy, storage efficiency, storage technologies, we've tried to integrate ourselves with them. Of course, nuclear energy is one of the indispensable components in this process because we're going to reduce hydrocarbon resources, and this base load deficiency should be definitely trade-off. It has to be closed, and in this respect, we need something clean and something that can show the future of base load. If we bring all this together, not only specific to wind energy, but in general, all energy portfolio is going to witness a big change. So on the horizontal, we will be having different cross-section topics, which is digitalization. Along with energy transformation, digitalization has become really important. It's important because the system that you manage is involving both consumers and producers, and the demand side should be involved in the procedures. Well, in order for us to manage the system, that system should be made digital and automated to the best extent possible. Production, transmission, consumption, all these pillars should be digitalized in the best way possible. In addition to this, there comes carbon markets. We are preparing ourselves for this as well. We're going to facilitate carbon markets in Turkey, and we will have the value in carbon markets, and that value is going to be really crucial for emission reduction, to provide finance for renewable energy sources. It's going to create a big advantage. In the upcoming decade, electricity sectors, components, value chains will be witnessing a big change involving the productions and generation itself. While doing so, we will restructure our agencies, and we will have market reforms to reorganize the agencies and institutions. We've realized a big success story in the last 2 decades. I'm not going to utter numerical data because you are all aware of these numbers, but roughly speaking, in the last 20 years, renewable energy installed power has increased 59%, and wind and hydroelectricity power increased very significantly. 12,000 megawatts increased in 37,000 megawatts in hydroelectricity power. So during this process, we have written a big success story. So throughout this period of time, based on value production, renewable energy electricity has increased up to 1,650 kilowatt hour. So we have brought renewable energy from one point to another point, and we have generated 1,650 kilowatt hour of electricity. As you all know, in the beginning of 2000, biggest energy source of Turkey was natural gas. Natural gas was preferred to cope with problems back then, and renewable energy alternative was natural gas back then. 330,000 cubic meter equivalent of natural gas has been created in this new sector, and this sector has contributed the energy and overall economy by 135 billion TL of worth, and it shows us that this is a great sector, especially wind. Of course, this shows the importance of wind energy equipment manufacturing sector. This sector has already proven its success. Approximately in the last 10 years in Turkey, main equipment exporters number increased up to 150 and subcontractors increased up to 350, and total employment capacity increased up to 50,000. So this is the manufacturing sector in the wind energy we're talking about. And till this time, the support that we provided to this sector is around $1.8 billion, and approximately 380 companies has received this endorsement and support. So generally speaking, renewable energy sector has realized a big success. So for the future, I'd like to emphasize a couple of important situations. As of 20 October, our minister has announced our 2035 vision, which is going to quadruple renewable energy targets. But these targets could only be realized altogether, especially majority of our investors are private sector companies. So considering this as the ministry, we believe that private sector players are going to contribute to this targets significantly, and we will help them. So we have the project portfolio of 70,000 megawatts, and 34,000 of them comes from storage, renewable energy sources, wind and solar, and 23,000 of them comes from unlicensed. And so in the beginning, we're talking about 70,000 megawatts ready to utilize portfolio, which is already at the hands of the investors. This is a really big sum of amount that we're talking about for investors. And we have to once again underline this. This allocated capacity should be turned into investments, physically and actually, because all the components of the sector, including equipment and energy generation, this capacity should be transformed into investments. In addition to this capacity, we're going to quadruple our current targets. Each and every year, minimum, by the way, I'd like to emphasize this word, minimum 2,000 megawatt YECA addition will be provided. Our department, with the instruction and order of the minister, in the same seasons, in the same periods, will announce their reforms in different points of Turkey. On the wind and on the solar side, we will have our tenders, and tenders will be on the same periods again. 20,000 megawatts of investment will be given to the sector components. And we will have the offshore planning, which is around 5,000 megawatts. And I'd like to thank TWEC for their hard work. And on Thursday, we will have the launching with the World Bank. We're working on this. So the offshore wind potential will be added to electricity generation portfolio. And we're going to finalize preliminary works. So based on our cooperation with World Bank in Marmara, Balıkesir coastline, we are currently conducting our measurement and analysis works. And very soon, we will also work on other offshore potential regions. We will start measuring activities. 5,000 megawatts of portfolio is going to be created. Of course, we are going to have international projects, and I'm sure you have seen and heard about them. Different countries have their investors, and we talk to them, and we'd like to attract foreign direct investors to our country with their finance. And also we have made a new step in this period. Renewable sources, which are going to have the production and consumption at the same connection point. We will have new arrangements, and they're going to be given capacity allocation. So let me talk about YECA projects, Renewable Energy Resource Area projects. We have 5 wind energy terminals, power plants. 1,200 megawatt is the total potential of these power plants. The technical specifications have been announced, and in solar, it includes 6 different facilities. So there's going to be a new form of tender, and this tender specifications are shared with the sector. They know the details. So there should be certain arrangements to enable or facilitate the sector. Throughout this period, we will have our negotiations with the sector players, and if in this technical specifications there are certain points that has to be made easier, we are open to your suggestions so that these procedures could be made easier. So this model involves big hard work. There's this top price and also the bottom price, and also there is this capacity allocation price, and you can be sure of this. For this tender, we have realized simulation studies for hundreds of facilities. So as a result of this, we have realized these technical specifications and tender form. And of course, we are open to your suggestions. Maybe you realize this on our technical specifications. These are not very much differentiated from the previous YECA technical specifications. Locality rate has been preserved and the duration has been preserved in the same way. And pricing is going to be based on FX. This is something new, and it's going to eliminate the uncertainties with respect to the finance. I'm sure it's going to create big value. And one of the biggest changes that we made, additions, is that there's going to be exemptions on the transmission price, transmission charge. Transmission charge or the price is going to be excluded from the base price, which is on the tenders. Well, in the 20 years, let's say there is this offer price, and it's not going to involve the transmission price, because based on the sector feedback, we've seen that transmission price might be subject to certain changes. That's why transmission price or the charge might have certain uncertainties, and it might have certain contingencies. So we try to eliminate this. This question has been asked to me very frequently. That's why I'm trying to elaborate on this. As you all know, in the first 5 years, there's going to be the normal application. Well, after the sales period to the market is over, then the price is going to be based on the tender. So the winner of the tender is going to pay the transmission charge. Then, after 5 years, that transmission charge is going to be given back to the tender owner. And by the way, these tenders are going to be open for international arbitration. Istanbul arbitration and international arbitration is going to be open. So this is one of the big changes that we have brought so far. The sector has contributed in this very significant. I'd like to thank the sector plays for this. There's this permit issues. After the climate change has become a huge topic, a lot of countries have worked on the acceleration of renewable energy investments, but on the permit issues, many countries have made national-based changes, and we have followed them, like the EU directives, Germany's applications, and Italy, and also the US incentive system. We have checked all these countries, and we have also tried to eliminate the bottlenecks for the investors that has to be provided by the public. As you all know, CHET environmental impact assessment application was really troublesome, and I'm sure the details will be given to you. So we have realized big meetings with the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. And in this environmental impact assessment periods, there will be certain reductions on time. So in total, 48 months of the permit. But with these arrangements, this period is going to be reduced down to 18 to 20 months. It's going to be possible. While certain amendments on the law are going to be realized, it's going to be negotiated on the Grand Assembly. On the assessment duration, other permits are going to be also co-started at the same period, because in the past, permit procedures couldn't be initiated before environmental impact assessment application was over, but now all these permit procedures could be co-started at the same time so that investors can take their positions more swiftly. When it comes to renewable integration, Well, all the countries in the world are trying to maximize this integration. However, there are certain problems along with this change, which is related to flexibility of the transmission grids. And our system operators are working on 2035 vision, system transformation and system grid transmission integration. We're working with the operator. Each and every component, each and every connection, even 1 megawatt, it doesn't matter. It has huge effects on the transmission grid. All the effects, all the impacts. Evaluation might take hundreds of hours. And there's a simulation for us to see the enhancement potentials of the system. So we get support from the transmission grid, and we are trying our best to prepare the grid for you. And I've taken certain questions last night, whether these demands are going to be realized on time. So I can tell you this, as system operator, if we promised for this, when you make the system ready, that system is going to be connected to our system. But our expectation is that you need to make the system available for the integration. And there's going to be a new transformation on the transmission grid. HVDC lines will be the main component of the system. Approximately 4 gigawatts of capacity will be realized. 14,000 kilometers is the length. HVCD converter centers will be created. There will be 40 of them. By 2035, they will be made ready. You will not have any problems for connection, but we have to do this together. We have to work with you as system operators, because this is an investment of $28 billion for HC and HVDC lines. By 2035, it's going to be the investment sum. So in total, both generation and transmission segment of energy and the electrification coefficient of the system. And if we involve EVs to the system, and if we think that the energy consumption is going to be higher in our daily lives, both the infrastructure and the generation segments, we need to make some integration works. So like I mentioned in the beginning, we need a total transformation in the system. This perception should change. The system should be modernized. It should have a digital and a very modern infrastructure. Market and also carbon market related issues are on our radar. EPH is going to reorganize itself. We've discussed this issue with the Minister of Environment. We will have carbon markets under EPH. EPH is not going to be only about electricity, but it's going to turn itself as a place for commodity sales in the energy market. So I'm sure that it's going to contribute our sector significantly. So if I am to sum it up, this is the situation that we have. We have the investment portfolio of $100 billion. 80 of it is, or 75 of it generation, and $25 billion of it is related to transmission. And majority of this investment should be made on the local. Otherwise, we'll be dependent on other countries like we are in the natural gas. So we can only do it by empowering the local manufacturing sector. And we can say this very comfortably. We will support local equipment and component manufacturing sector, even though we hear different opinions, but especially on the renewable energy sector, we will support renewable energy equipments for 2035 vision. Manufacturing sector should be able to provide these components to our sector players with a new business model, with a new business structure. We will need localization. In this respect, as the Ministry of Energy, we will work with the Ministry of Industry. We are ready for all kinds of arrangements for maximum localization. All the components are going to be supported, even if we are brought an integrated business model, we will provide the best support to them.
Recently, my little son approached me and asked me a question. He was showing me a book, a science book, and just asked me, do you know the difference in between the alive things and the non-living organisms? The live organisms can generate their own energy and can consume actually their own energy. So it's a very simple definition. However, we have such a reality. If we are to be live and living societies, we have to generate our own energy and we have to know how to consume it wisely. So our ministry has a vision of 2030. It's not only about the solar and wind. We, of course, take into account the limitations of the climate change. So as the country, we aim to generate our own energy, transmit it and distribute it. We have to learn it so that we can improve the civilization to the better features. Of course, we have created great successes in the last 20 years. So I can say that the coming 10 years would be more challenging comparing to the past 20 years. However, we have actually greater objectives. So energy and the future, yes, they have to be in the same sentence. We shouldn't miss it. We cannot miss it. So thank you very much for your kind attention. We will make this a common success. So as the ministry, as the public sector, we will do our best, and what we expect from the sector is to contribute to this success and work with us. This is what we are planning to do. Thank you very much, and I wish you success. Thank you. Thank you very much, distinguished Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources of Republic of Turkey. Now I would like to invite here our last speaker, Energy Commission President of Turkish Parliament. Well, I think that in this commission we also have the natural sources, right? Previous as well Minister of Industry. He is Mr. Mustafa Varang is kindly invited to the stage, please, for his kind presentation. Distinguished representatives of wind energy ecosystem, distinguished stakeholders, valuable guests, ladies and gentlemen, valuable participants. Well, this Congress is organized by the TWEA, so that's why I would like to salute a distinguished committee and as well valuable participants. I know that we are delayed a little bit while my friends have prepared already long presentations and speeches for themselves. Well, I do not want to bore you with a long speech, so that's why I'll just keep it short. I would like to thank TWEC for their invitation. This is a great sustainable congress. Our presenters, in a sustainable manner, can actually pronounce the commission that I work. Even the password for the Wi-Fi is the same. That does not change. So it's great. Everything has been the same for many years. It's a very sustainable congress. That's why it's really meaningful for our sector, because it brings a public sector and a private sector together. That's why it's very beneficial, a very good one. So thank you very much. Of course, stability is really essential. So Mr. Dixon is coming as well in a stable manner, comes and makes his speech. Well, we hope and expect that Turkish gets better and better every year. This is what I observe. Thank you very much again for coming. Well, thank you very much as well for sharing the perspective of the European Union. However, I'm not as optimistic as he is, especially when we just think of the current situation of the EU. There are political turbulences that they are facing with, and there are going to be some reflections to the trade and commerce, I believe. For example, USA is now going through the elections, and one of the candidates for the presidency is that when I become the president, offshore mechanisms will be eliminated. This is what they say. So against such a president of the USA, then have come, or how will be the reaction of the EU against the USA? So I hope that we could have been such optimistic. However, because of the political processes within the country, unfortunately, we cannot be in the desired level. So as a Turkey, well, yes, we would like to be a self-sufficient country. We would like to use our own local energy. Of course, we do our best to support the renewable energy. We aim to improve our technology. So we are quite decisive. We do our best. We will continue to work on this segment. Ministry of Energy will collaborate with the other ministries, and as well within the Parliament, we will do our best to enact all the required legislations to help out the investors of the energy. This is what we do. This is what we try to do. Yesterday we had a meeting, and there were some titles, important titles at that meeting, and we will make a follow-up for all the titles. Especially the timing of the legislations. Yes, I know that you have a demand for the shortage of these processes. Yes, we will do our best. So please support us on the public eye. You know how important it is, this work. You know as much as I do. We have to show it to the public. We need to explain it to the public with the best manners. So please do it. So I also have to thank the distinguished mayor of Gaziantep city, because they show and prove what a local administration can do actually. So they are a great proof of that. We expect Antep city to be more sustainable and green, and they have already initiated their work in different titles and segments. I wish that our other actually mayors should take this great example into account instead of focusing on other issues, tasks. Well, it took me, for example, a long time to arrive here because of the traffic, but I don't know what the mayor of Istanbul is doing right now. Is he, for example, trying to solve the traffic problem in Istanbul, or is he in Ankara maybe trying to focus on other political issues? I don't know. It is just up to you to decide. Well, another important issue is about the demand of the sector. The Minister of Energy as well has received that demand, and I would like to mention it once more in front of the cameras, especially related to the investments of storage investments. I know that there is a high demand of the sector. If we would like to make such investments, I think that we also have to make our decision about the storage investment, and we have to really open the pay. Which would be better solution? Should we pay for the license, for example, if it is needed, and leave it to the TWEC? It could be, of course, maybe a solution proposal, and I'll do the required interviews with the related parties, and I'll find actually a way to the problem. Yesterday night, actually, I've talked to the distinguished investors, and one of the most important thing is the YECA investment that they were looking for. We expect this to continue. We will maybe declare more and more YECAs so that we will supply the need of the country, and we will increase the local contribution so that we will maybe help out to the local industry to improve more. So I know that all the investors are preparing themselves for the coming YECAs. I hope that in the future we will continue to work on that regard. The distinguished minister has already declared the energy strategy that has a certain framework that shows the necessities of the country, what should be done and what shouldn't be done. We already know what we should do, and all the question marks are going to be answered when the time is up. So we will see for sure more investments in the coming days. Up until now, we have organized many meetings, and I'm sure that this meeting is going to be as beneficial as the previous ones. Once more, let me share with you, as the Energy Commission of Turkish Parliament, we serve to the government, we serve to our investors, and any legislation that is needed, that is going to help to the sector, will be supported by us. We are after all the innovative solutions. We will do our best. And also something else made me happy yesterday night. The lakes and the rivers, the possibility of constructing a GES, open them. I have seen that there are investors that might invest into this area. So I see that this type of meetings and conferences really create concrete solutions. I totally believe in that. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for not leaving us alone. Thank you very much sharing your very valuable insights. I wish you a very fruitful Congress, and I salute you with respect. Thank you very much. Stay with the blessings of the God. Well, please stay on the stage, distinguished Mustafa Varan, valuable president of the Energy Commission of Turkish Parliament. I would like to invite as well here Dr. Ibrahim Erdan, president of TWEC. Please stay on the stage for the delivery of the tokens, and we will have a family photo afterwards. I have been waiting for the white turban, by the way, myself. I have been thinking about it actually for the last year. By the way, our gift to you is a quite heavy one, a large one. It's quite meaningful though. Ms. Selma Öztürk has actually created that gift, that artwork for you. So here it is. There is a quote saying from Quran, by the way, on this artwork. Thank you very much. I would like to also invite here distinguished Deputy Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Zafer Demircan. Is kindly invited to the stage, please. All the artworks, by the way, they are about the wind turbines, but there are also phrases from Quran. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to invite here distinguished Mayor of Gaziantep Metropolitan Municipality, Fatma Şahin. There are figures from Topkapı Palace by Selma Öztürk. The artist is Miss Selma Öztürk. Win Europe CEO Mr. Giles Dixon is kindly as well invited to the stage, please.
Eseri alalım. Tamam. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Bir fotoğraf alalım. Ondan sonra ben TÜREP...
Let's have a family photo, please, and then we will invite here the team of TWEC.
Aile fotoğrafı için TÜREP Yönetim Kurulu üyelerini...
Board members of TWEC are kindly invited to the stage for the family photo, please.
Sonra paylaşalım. Evet. Şimdi TÜREP Yönetim Kurulu üyeleri, yönetim kurulu...
We will as well invite here distinguished partners. Valuable shareholders are going to be invited to the stage. To the stairs, please. Should we be on the stairs or on the stage? I think that we can use the stairs as well.
Ve paydaşlarımız, tüm destekleyenler, efendim? Kamu genel müdürleri de fotoğraf...
Valuable general directors. Well, we are going to open the Congress actually afterwards. So, distinguished Minister, distinguished President, distinguished Dixon, distinguished Mayor, please stay on the stage for a little while because we're going to cut the symbol of the Congress, please. We will cut the ribbon, please.
Ya. Efendim açılışın hemen akabinde makaslar misafirlerimizle gün arasına kalabilir. Buyurun.
Kongremizi kurdele keserek açacağız. Bu da bizim istikrarlı başka bir uygulamamız.
Well, this is another actually tradition of this conference. Well, in the opening ceremonies, there is something that we always say. Luckily, this time Mr. Dixon will say it. Maybe distinguished Dixon will say it. Well, please keep the scissors as a memory of the day. Now we have a break and then we will continue with the first session. Thank you very much.
Tabii ki. Benim mikrofonu kapatabilir miyiz? İnelim isterseniz aşağıda çekelim.